Picture this for a second. It's late at night. You're half watching something, half scrolling your phone, and you see that familiar little message, your free 2-day shipping is ready. You shrug, click buy now, and honestly, it just feels good. Fast, easy, frictionless. And then somewhere in the background of your brain, very faintly, a tiny voice goes, wait, how much am I actually paying for this? But you ignore it. Most of us do. Because the monthly fee feels small, the perks feel endless, and the whole thing is wrapped in such a smooth, convenient experience that you almost never stop to add it all up. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and the weird little ways companies quietly shape our spending habits without us even noticing. And honestly, few subscriptions are better at this than Amazon's Amazon Prime. Because what looks like a simple $14.99 a month membership is actually something much sneakier. By the end of this, you're going to see Amazon Prime very differently, not necessarily as a bad deal, but as something far more psychologically engineered than most people realize. And once you see it, it's really hard to unsee. The "it's only a few dollars" illusion. Let's start with the most obvious trick. The price feels small, $14.99 a month, or about $13.90 a year. On paper, that doesn't sound terrifying. It's not a car payment, it's not rent, it's not even your phone bill. It's just there, quiet, background noise. And that's exactly the point. See, our brains are terrible at evaluating small recurring costs. Psychologists call this subscription blindness. Once something becomes automatic, it stops feeling like spending and starts feeling like infrastructure, like electricity or Wi-Fi. I noticed this in my own life a while back. I was reviewing my monthly expenses, one of those slightly painful adult moments, and I saw Prime sitting there, $14.99. My first reaction? Oh, that's nothing. But then I did the math. Over 5 years, that's nearly $700. Over 10 years, almost $1,400. Suddenly, it didn't feel like background noise anymore. It felt intentional. Why it matters? Small monthly fees compound into very real money over time. Takeaway: once a year, multiply your subscriptions by 12 and then by 5. The number will wake you up fast. Free shipping that's not really free. Now let's talk about the crown jewel, free shipping, because this is where things get psychologically brilliant. When you have Prime, every product page subtly whispers the same message: shipping is free, go ahead. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't think about. You already paid for the shipping, up front. In fact, once you have Prime, something interesting happens to your buying behavior. Studies and internal retail data consistently show that Prime members tend to buy more frequently, spend more per year, make more impulse purchases, and honestly, that makes perfect sense, because friction is the enemy of spending. Before Prime, you might have paused. Do I really need this random kitchen gadget? But with free 2-day shipping, that pause disappears. The decision becomes almost reflexive. I've caught myself doing this more times than I'd like to admit. You see something for $11.98, and your brain goes, well, shipping is free, might as well. Except multiply that moment by 50 purchases a year. Now we're talking. Why it matters? Prime doesn't just save you money on shipping, it quietly encourages you to buy more than you otherwise would. Takeaway: before checking out, ask yourself one simple question. Would I still buy this if shipping cost $6.99? That question alone can cut a surprising amount of impulse spending. The bundle effect and why it's so powerful. Here's where things get really interesting. Prime is not just shipping. It's video, music, gaming perks, photo storage, early deals, and a bunch of smaller features most people barely even use. This is called bundling, and it's one of the most powerful pricing strategies in modern business. Because when everything is packaged together, your brain stops evaluating each piece individually. You don't think, do I use Prime Video enough? Do I listen to Prime Music? Do I need the gaming perks? Instead, your brain goes, well, it's a lot of stuff for one price. And that feeling, that vague sense of getting a lot, is exactly what keeps people subscribed. I remember asking a friend once why they kept Prime. They paused, then said something like, I mean, I use the shipping and sometimes the shows, and it's just kind of worth it, I guess. That, I guess, is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Why it matters? Bundles make it harder for you to evaluate true value. Takeaway: once a year, list which Prime features you actually used in the past 12 months. Most people are surprised by how short the list is. The sunk cost trap. Okay, this one is subtle but powerful. Once you've paid for Prime, your brain starts trying to justify the membership. Psychologists call this the sunk cost effect. Basically, once money is spent, we feel an emotional need to get our money's worth. So what happens? You start thinking things like, I should order this on Amazon since I have Prime. I might as well watch something on Prime Video. I should use it more since I'm paying for it. Notice what's happening here. Instead of the service adapting to your needs, you start adapting your behavior to justify the service. And I'll be honest, I've done this. You probably have too. There have been moments where I caught myself choosing Amazon not because it was cheaper, not because it was better, but because, well, I already had Prime. That's the sunk cost trap in action. Why it matters? The membership can quietly influence where and how you shop. Takeaway: when buying something, quickly price check one other retailer. It keeps your decision grounded in reality. The default subscription effect. Here's where things get most people never think about. Prime is sticky. Once you turn it on, it tends to stay on. Why? Because canceling requires remembering you have it, questioning the value, taking action, and sitting with a tiny bit of friction. And humans are honestly pretty lazy when it comes to small financial optimizations. No judgment, it's just how our brains are wired. There's also the auto-pay effect. When something renews automatically, it avoids the moment of reconsideration. There's no yearly "are you sure" moment for most users. It just continues, month after month, year after year. I've talked to people who kept Prime for 3 or 4 years without seriously reevaluating whether they still needed it. Not because it was a bad deal, but because inertia is powerful. Why it matters? Auto-renew subscriptions thrive on inattention. Takeaway: put a recurring calendar reminder once a year, titled, Do I Still Need This? It sounds simple, but it works. The emotional convenience premium. Now we get to the part that's harder to quantify. Convenience has emotional value, and Amazon understands this very well. There is something deeply satisfying about clicking once, knowing it'll arrive fast, not thinking too hard about it. It removes friction from your life, it saves time, it reduces mental load. And to be fair, sometimes that is worth paying for. But the hidden cost most people miss is convenience makes you less price sensitive. When something becomes effortless, you stop comparison shopping as much. You stop hunting for deals. You stop asking, is this actually the best price? Because the smooth experience becomes part of the value equation. And again, I say this with zero judgment. I've absolutely paid more for something just because it was easier to get through Prime. That's the convenience premium at work. Why it matters? Convenience can quietly increase how much you spend overall. Takeaway: for purchases over a certain amount, maybe $30 or $50, build in a 60-second pause to check prices elsewhere. That tiny pause can save real money over time. So, is Prime actually worth it? Now, after all this, you might be thinking, okay, Nick, so are you saying Prime is a bad deal? Honestly, not necessarily. For some people, especially frequent online shoppers, Prime can absolutely pay for itself. If you genuinely use the shipping heavily, watch the content regularly, and value the time savings, it may be completely reasonable. The real issue isn't the price, it's the awareness. Most people don't consciously evaluate Prime anymore. It becomes part of the financial background of life, like a subscription-shaped fog sitting quietly in the corner of your budget. And when something becomes invisible, that's when companies have the most power. Conclusion: seeing the real cost clearly. At the end of the day, Amazon Prime isn't some evil financial trap lurking in the shadows. It's actually a brilliantly engineered product designed to feel small, effortless, and incredibly sticky. And honestly, you kind of have to respect the design. But the real cost of Prime isn't just the $14.99 a month. It's the behavioral ripple effects, the extra impulse purchases, the reduced price comparisons, the quiet auto renewals, the psychological pull to use it more. When you stack those together over years, the number gets a lot bigger than most people expect. And look, convenience is valuable. Your time matters. Friction-free shopping can absolutely make life easier. There's no rule that says you shouldn't pay for things that genuinely improve your day-to-day life. The goal isn't to cancel everything and live like it was 2007 again. The goal is clarity. Because once you clearly see what you're paying, how often you're using it, and how it's subtly shaping your spending habits, you get your power back. Maybe you'll keep Prime. Maybe you'll pause it. Maybe you'll just become more intentional about how you use it. But whatever you choose, you'll be making that decision with your eyes open, instead of running on autopilot. And in personal finance, honestly,